Penguin Random House Audio presents Dirty Pretty Things by Michael Faudet, read for you by Katharine Lee Mcewan. For Lang, I write because you exist. Introduction. I can write a whole book about Michael. In fact, I have written 2. I don't think there is anything more to say that cannot be found within their pages. So instead, I will write about a different book entirely, one by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, known as The Little Prince. In every relationship there is a defining piece of music, film, or literature, one that permeates through the length of every love story. The Little Prince is significant to Michael and I in this respect. Though there have been several books that hold a special significance for us, this particular one trumps them all. The reason why is not a literal one, and is difficult to put in words. Perhaps it has something to do with the connection between the Little Prince and the rose. There is a fragile innocence and beauty to their story that resonates with ours. Before Michael and I knew each other, we had already shared a similar aesthetic, both in the visual and written form. In fact, it was how we met. He purchased a painting from me, and through this transaction a surprising narrative unfolded. However, though we shared the same appreciation for art, it was our writing that brought us together. Words were our matchmaker. As we began sharing our writing with each other, we would also share our love of other writers. Because there was such a strong correlation between our words that were bittersweet and melancholy, we often fell in love with each other's endorsements. It was through this exchange that I came to know The Little Prince, to rediscover this charming tale as an adult, and absorb it once again, not as a child who can only imagine the exaltation and perils of love, but as someone who has loved and lost. I often think about the love story between the Little Prince and his rose. It is one that, like Michael, appeared in my life at the exact time when it was the most necessary. I believe it was the same for Michael, for he had rediscovered that long-forgotten joy the moment he pulled his dusty copy of The Little Prince from the back of his shelf to hand to me. The sentiment of The Little Prince can be glimpsed within the pages of my books. It can also be found scattered in parts of Dirty Pretty Things, the book you are holding in your very hands. Between these pages, you will find the remnants of a fierce and unbridled passion, intertwined with the ache of lost love. I hope you enjoy Dirty Pretty Things as much as I have. For Michael and I, it has been a labor of love. Lang Liav, September 2014. The Rose. Have you ever loved a rose, and watched her slowly bloom, and as her petals would unfold, you grew drunk on her perfume? Have you ever seen her dance, her leaves all wet with dew, and quivered with a new romance? The wind, he loved her too. Have you ever longed for her, on nights that go on and on? For now, her face is all a blur, like a memory kept too long. Have you ever loved a rose, and bled against her thorns, and swear each night to let her go, then love her more by dawn? Lang Liav. Cake. Sex is the cake, and love the icing on top. Away from you. I think of thoughts that cannot be. No hand can reach across this sea. The seasons change on distant shores, from frosty skies to sunshine blue, as summer's touch undresses you, reminding me of all the things I often wish, but cannot do. The lighthouse. The autumn sun smiled softly across the gentle waves that lapped against the old wooden pier. The lighthouse threw a morning shadow as a magpie's note rang out from the swaying trees. Dawn's light poured through the dusty wooden blinds and washed over the white linen sheets that lay crumpled and kicked off the bed. She lay naked, breathless and beautiful, black hair tumbling across her pert breasts. "I love our house," she sighs. He stares up at the powder blue ceiling, a little dreamy and wet. "I think this might be a good morning to make marshmallows," he replies. Lust. Lust is a lovely word and makes love so much more interesting. Lost words. A midnight scribble, a morning sigh. You watch the words curl up and die. Madness lives inside your head, of poems lost and pages dead. A mind possessed by unmade books, unwritten lines on empty hooks. Lips. Kisses dream of lips like yours. Airplanes. She rode on airplanes and fell asleep in hotel beds, dreaming of faraway places, writing poetry with her sunset eyes. Vodka. I couldn't begin to count the countless memories I've lost with each pour of the vodka bottle. Every one washed away beneath an icy sip or six of liquid forgetfulness. A mind shot to pieces by a forever empty glass. Yet, somewhere hidden within a haze, a fog that descends with the rising sun, a hangover of you remains, untouched by hands or salty tears that quench this morning thirst. A fading hint of perfume, lost on an empty pillow. The stray black hair lying alone in the sink. Your toothbrush, dry and carelessly abandoned. A photograph framed in dust and cobwebs. Suddenly, I remember all that you were. She was a ghost of a girl, hauntingly beautiful, wonderfully lost, breaking hearts and crying holy water tears. A reminder of lips pressed hard against lips. My hand between your legs, the little pleated skirt hitched up, pulling your hair and fucking you hard. The soft moans and whispered words. A cat purring, curled up against the tiny rose tattoo on your hip. Waking up to that smile, the one I fell in love with when the world was just ours. I opened the bottle and shut my eyes. A twist of fate spilling cold over a lonely glass. A reminder to forget the forgotten again. Another day spent, slowly slipping away from you. Reality. Love and loss share the same unmade bed. Pen portrait. I watched as you reached for the ice cream. Standing naked, body pressed up against the humming fridge. A wispy trail of bluish-grey smoke spiraling up from a dying cigarette. Held precariously in the other hand, ash falling to the floor. A just fucked wetness between your legs. Your little smile captured in grainy black and white by the click of a camera. Twisted trees. A fearsome wind cannot compel the weakest branch to gladly yield. Yet, the faintest breath upon your lips, and I have fallen against my will.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?